We talked in the previous podcast about Mike Meeker and the fact he was Howie Meeker's nephew, and when he played in the States, there was virtually no pressure on him because, no disrespect to U.S. hockey fans, the majority of them don't know who Howie Meeker is. How would they? There are not many Maple Leaf fans in the States, and Hockey Night in Canada was never broadcast, and that was his main show for years. But when your last name is Conacher, obviously in Canada, Lionel Conacher, the greatest athlete of the half century in Canada, there would be a lot of pressure on any athlete with the last name of Conacher. But with this guy, when he was drafted into the NHL, he basically became a workman-like player for the squads he played for, and basically set up a great career for himself, first in hockey and then in retirement as assistant coach and a head coach. So today we're going to be talking about the very cerebral and the very, very talented Pat Conacher. Now, the center, born Edmonton, Alberta, May 1st, 1959, 5'8", 188 poundage. First came to major prominence in his junior career. He played with the Battlefords Barons of the SJHL in 77, then went on to the WHL. 2 seasons in Billings. His draft year, he had 62 points in 39 games, and that year was drafted in round 4, 76 overall by the Rangers. He finished up his minor league career in Saskatoon with 15 goals in 33 games in second half of the 79 campaign. So again, the draft year he had 40 goals in a very, very constructive campaign. Now, a very, very strong worker, and I'll tell you why. He worked in the construction business in Calgary during off seasons of his playing days. He liked to keep in shape, and again, called Calgary's hometown for a while. He had his debut on January 4th, 1980, against Philadelphia, and you couldn't keep up with him because he had probably the most numbers of any one player in the NHL in the 1980s. He wore number 28 with the Rangers, number 15 with Edmonton, 14 and 32 with New Jersey, 15 with LA, where he was a teammate with Gretzky, 11 in Calgary, and 25 with the Islanders. Now, he won a Stanley Cup in Edmonton in 84. That was his first tenure with a Gretzky squad, and he retired for the final time in 98 after taking some time off. Now, between the Rangers, Edmonton, New Jersey, LA, Calgary, and New York Islanders, mostly as a defensive forward, he had 63 goals, 76 assists for 139 points, again, 521 games. But what really stood out for me was in the playoffs. He had 21 points in 66 playoff games for the Rangers, Edmonton, New Jersey, and LA, 11 big goals. Now again, he also lost with Gretzky to Montreal in 93, but in LA he had a really, really good tenure. He was Defensive Player of the Year in 95 with the Kings. He won their Unsung Hero Award in 93 and 95, Most Inspirational Player in 94. Now, when he went to coaching, he became assistant coach on February 17th, 2001, and remained there until June 22nd, 2004. Now, he also was in broadcasting for a while. He was named Anaheim's radio color commentator prior to the 97 season and stayed there for the campaign. Now, what really hurt him was a lot of injuries. He missed the remainder of the Rangers' 1980 training camp and the entire 81 season with a severely shattered left ankle, an injury suffered during the Rangers' rookie team scrimmage versus Washington on September 21st, 1980. The injury required season-ending surgery. Now, strained back in 1988. Now, because of his injury, he shifted from center to left wing during the 88 season and finally became an NHL regular as a result. Now, the big line he played with in New Jersey especially was with these defensive co-specialists, Doug Brown and Claude Loisel. Now, played right wing primarily for 89 and 90, but 89 was also a tough year. He had a really severe knee injury in a game against the Rangers on Boxing Day, 88. Now, he also had postseason reconstructive left shoulder surgery on April 7th, 89. Now, the big shift for him when he started playing on a line with Brown and David Maley, the former NHL champion with Montreal, in 1990. Now, unfortunately, he missed part of the 90 playoffs with a sprained left knee, suffered during the Game 3 of the New Jersey's first-round series at Washington. Now, he also missed the remainder of the New Jersey's 1990 training camp and started the season with, again, a strained left knee. suffered during a September 22nd preseason game versus the Islanders. He also missed part of the 91 season with an ulcer, which was diagnosed in February 91. He missed parts of 92 with a groin injury, suffered during a game against Pittsburgh in October of 91, and with a hernia, which occurred on January 9th. He switched from left wing back to center after trade to LA, but continued to play left wing as well for the Kings. Now, 94 was, again, another big injury. He strained his lower back on November 21st, and he had bad ribs, suffered during a January 25th game versus Winnipeg. He also missed part of the 96 season with a strained back, suffered in January 96. Now, he retired for the first time in September of 96, after the Islanders chose not to offer him a new contract for 96-97. Now, he went to Team Canada for a short while, but then later retired. Now, his post-draft teams included New Haven, Springfield, Tulsa, Moncton, very popular in the AHL, Nova Scotia, Maine, of the AHL, Utica, and of course Team Canada. He was named Utica's captain in 1989-90, and also played on the AHL regular season champion New Haven in 1980. Now, in 97, he was named Team Canada's player assistant coach on November 23rd that year, and remained there throughout the 97-98 season. Now, in the year 2000, he was named Kelowna's assistant coach on January 20, 2000, and remained there until the end of the campaign. He was also named Utah's head coach, the AHL squad, on June 22nd, 2004, and stayed there for the season. Now, more injuries again. He missed part of the 83 season with a shoulder injury, suffered in November 82. Now, he was going to quit hockey in October 83 because he felt he was languishing in the minor leagues, but he was called up for Edmonton by the end of the month, and of course the rest is history. He won the Stanley Cup. Now, another injury we never talked about, missed part of 85 with a groin strain, suffered in December 84. He also missed part of the 90 season when he displaced two teeth and suffered a 50-stitch facial cut when he was cross-checked into the boards by Steve Seftel during Utica's October 13, 89 game versus Baltimore. Very much a goon tactic there. Now again, he came out of retirement while serving as Team Canada assistant coach to play for the squad during the 98 season for some of their what they call long road contract. Now, the Rangers, not saying he gave up on him, but he did not offer him a contract for the 84 season, and then he signed with Edmonton on October 4th, 83. So just a quick recap. He had 17 games again with the Rangers in 1980 and was with them for the playoffs that year. He had 25 points with New Haven in his AHL rookie with 11 goals. 82 Springfield Indians, also played 5 games for the Rangers. 83 with Tulsa Oilers, played 45 games with Edmonton and 1 big goal in the playoffs. Now 84, he played also with the Moncton Alpines, 23 points in 28 games. Then the Nova Scotia Oilers in 85, the whole season, 65 points in 68 games, including 20 goals. 86, Maine Mariners, 45 points in 69 games, 2 games with the Devils. Back to Maine for the full season in 87. 88 with Utica, where he had 14 goals, but in the 88 campaign he had 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. 89, he spent the whole year with New Jersey, 12 points in 55 games, including 7 goals. But then again, Utica for most of 1990, 49 points in 57 games, but 3 goals and 6 points in 19 games with New Jersey, 1990. Now back to New Jersey for a full-timer in 1991, 16 points in 49 games. 92, again, 10 points in 44 games. But it was a big breakthrough. 93, the Cup run with Gretzky. He had 105 games played, 15 goals total, 12 assists for 27 points. But the career year for a lot of people was in 94. We had 15 goals and 28 points in 77 games. 95, 7, 9, 16. 96, he split time between LA, Calgary, and New York Islanders. 55 games, 6 goals, 3 assists for 9 points. And with the national team in 98, he had 13 points, including 1 goal in 34 games. So final NHL totals, 139 points in 521 games, 63 goals. So again, he also coached the San Antonio Rampage of the AHL in 06-07, and was the head coach of Regina in 12 and 13, so his travels have taken him everywhere. But Pat Conacher, when I saw him play with Gretzky in that 93 playoffs, he was very bizarre, ladies and gentlemen. He's a very good defensive player, but that year I don't think the numbers really reflected how good he was. He was minus 16, so he was playing a lot on the on the 5-on-4, so that's probably equated what was going on. But he was a hard-scrabble player, ladies and gentlemen. He battled through injury, he battled through disrespect, in the minors, that big injury. They say 50 stitches. Some people say it was much more than that. He was lucky to have his face totally ripped apart. And as you can tell by the picture, he's a handsome young man. You don't want anyway that being messed up. But I can tell you one thing, he was a big fan amongst the Maritime fans, not only because of his time in Nova Scotia and Moncton, but his time in Maine, because the Maine Mariners have quite a fan following in eastern U.S. and Canada, from Maine to New Hampshire border and the 4 Atlantic provinces. So anyway, Pat Conacher, like I said, what a very underrated player. I wish I had more Pat Conachers as fourth-line players for the Canadian teams, just to learn people how to play the whole game. It has nothing to do with goals. It has to do with determination and the amount of what you can bring out of your teammates. Like I said, the Rangers, the Oilers, the Devils, LA, Calgary, and the Islanders, these are all quality franchises. They've only played quality players of the 1980s into the 90s. And like I said, when you're a teammate of Gretzky twice, I don't know if Gretzky had something to do with him coming to LA. I wouldn't be surprised, because he looked good with the Kings. Like his career was revitalized. But I look at that 105 games in '93. I think he only missed one game the whole season. That's determination after years of all those injuries. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Legend of Pat Conacher. If you like Pat Conacher, if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe. And as we like to say in the old business, keep your stick in the ice. Have a good day. Bye.